happy Saturday. It's a beautiful day out there. The sun is shining. There's not many people around. It's the time of life that we're living in. I've isolated myself to my little cabin, so I'm so super excited today to have a conversation with Jenny Harkleroad, who I met earlier this or mid last year in a group that I'm in, and she came in and did some amazing work with us in my mastermind group. So first of all, I just want to let you know what I do. I work with women, and I also work on breaking the cycle of family dysfunction, specifically people pleasing, which is what really attracted me to Jenny, so that these women can live their lives to their fullest and really become their own masters of their own relationships and their own lives. So I'm a booming example of an adult child who is one who grew up in a dysfunctional family. So this subject of reprogramming our mind is so important for me and for many of us, because we, especially now, because it can be there can be such a pool going down into the rabbit hole with all of this crap that's going on. So that's what I do, and I'm a coach, empowerment coach as well. And so I'm just going to bring up Jenny now, and we're going to have a fantastic conversation. Hi, Jenny. Hi.
Hey, it's so good to be here. I'm excited to chat with you and everybody who's watching today. We're going to have a good time. We're going to learn some things. We're going to change our brain. We're going to have a great time.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on. Please just share where you are and what you do, and then we can start talking brain.
Absolutely. So I'm in lovely San Diego. I've always lived here. Same with my husband. We love it here and don't plan on ever leaving. The only place I've ever been in the world that I considered moving to was Switzerland. It's gorgeous there, and my grandparents are actually from there. And my husband said, we can't move there because your grandparents came to America. They brought the family. You can't go back. But I love traveling the country. There's so many beautiful places. And we've got 4 beautiful kids. 2 are grown up and moved out. 2 are still at home. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. And life is beautiful, and it just keeps getting better, especially now that I know how to reprogram my mind and get rid of all the junk between my ears that was pulling me backwards for so many decades.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The junk between our ears, and for me and for many others, it can just pile up so deep and get so heavy, and it just sits there. And so it's such a beautiful space to be in, to be able to acknowledge that you can clear the crap out and walk a little lighter. So yeah, tell me about your story and what got you into this.
Yeah, so I was in real estate. That's my background. So a lot of people think I'm a doctor, scientist, or psychologist or something like that. No, I was a real estate agent. I had a team of buyer's agents and secretaries, and we were producing double digits in the millions, which meant I had the houses and the cars and the travel and all that fun stuff. But I had a lot of things going on in my life that weren't going so well. And I just ignored it, put on a happy face, told everybody I was fine, popped pain pills to deal with my pain, and pressed forward. But there was a fateful day in my life. It was August 10th of 2013. I was hiking, and I got to this ledge with my husband, and he completely innocently said, if I was young and in shape, I'd jump off of here. And I don't know why, I took it as a dare, and I jumped. And when I landed, I heard a crunch, and I couldn't move, and I started screaming, and they sent in a ground crew when we called 911, and then Life Flight came and ziplined me up to a hovering helicopter, and in the hospital, they told me I broke my back. That's a bad day, right? That's a memorable day.
That's huge.
Bad day.
That's huge.
When you break your back, yeah, you get some thinking time. And so what I was thinking is, how can I change my life? A lot of thinking time, yeah, because I was struggling with chronic physical pain for most of my life. So breaking my back was just like one more physical problem I had to deal with, and a huge one. I'd never dealt with one quite that large. I was struggling in my marriage, but just putting on a happy face and trying to push through because I didn't know what else to do. I believe in family, and I wanted to make it work, and I prayed and I saw therapists and we did date nights and, you know, tried everything to make it happy, but it wasn't. And my career that was so successful that everybody was like, oh, if we could just have what you have, it wasn't really my passion. And I daydreamed about doing something that I would like wake up excited about and just want to just do it more and more and share it with the world. Truly my purpose. And I would just tell myself, like, just be quiet, stop thinking about that, suck it up, get back to work. You have it so good. Like, you don't need something that you're passionate about. It's going great right now. And so I had all these things going on in my head, and then I was stuck in bed with a broken back. And I wanted to get better first, right? And then I wanted to solve all my problems. Now, I'd been trying to solve these problems, and I just couldn't seem to figure out a way. For example, I would look in the mirror, and I would say, for 20 years, I'm happy, and I'm healthy, and I'm terrific. But it wouldn't sink in. And it would drive me crazy. Like, how do I change myself? I want to feel different. I want to be different, but I'm not. And no matter what I read or what I think, or it's just not changing me. I want to know the secret. How do I change myself? Mm-hmm. And how do I change myself easily? Not through a grueling, decades, hard, barely, changing the meter. And so I started to try to get better, and I saw physical therapists and acupuncture and chiropractor, massage, and, all that to try to get better. And a year after I broke my back, I was still in the worst pain you can imagine. I mean, horrible pain. And then fast forward another year, 2 years later, still horrible chronic pain. So what I think, there must be something still structurally wrong with me, right? Or else I'd be okay by now. And so I literally convinced surgeons to do a major surgery on me. They looked at my back and all my records and they said, I don't know. I mean, we can see there's some stuff, but it shouldn't hurt that bad. And what we can do may help and it may not. And I knew it'll work. I know it'll work because I've tried everything else. So they did surgery. They put in rods and screws and a synthetic disc, sewed me all up, sent me home on a walker with a back brace. 7 months later, I'm still in the same pain. I can't sit, I can't function, and now I'm full of metal. And they say, like, here's more hydrocodone. Sorry, there's nothing else we can do. We wish you the best. Wow. And I was like, no, you don't understand. This is my life. Like, I can't even drive my car. I can't function. This is not okay. I'm not going to live like this. And so I was, people say I was courageous. No, I was desperate. I was so desperate for an answer that I would try anything. I would ask anybody. Sometimes people post a problem on Facebook and people give ideas and they're like, I don't want to know all your ideas. I just want you to hear me. I was the opposite. I'm like, please, like a rain dance, anything. Like, you tell me, I will do it. And so I met this doctor through a referral, a medical doctor, 86 years old, turned integrative medicine kinesiologist. And I went to his house and I met with him. And through a process of muscle testing, he told me that all of my pain was emotional pain. I was like, no, like, look at the scars, look at the MRIs. Like, I don't think this is emotional. Like, I broke my back. And he said, yeah, 3 years ago. Like, your back's fine now. What you're feeling is emotional pain. And I didn't believe him. I thought it was weird, but I'm like, hey, let's try it. Do your magic stuff on me and help me change my thinking, help me change my brain, and we'll see if it works. Well, 6 hours later, I was completely healed. Woo! Completely healed, right? Yeah. And I was like, what? What just happened to me? How could this be? How could I be healed? And it fascinated me. And I started to become obsessed with the power of the mind. Like, the surgeons couldn't fix me. The doctors couldn't fix me. Like, even the Eastern medicine people, I was driving them crazy. They're like, why can't we help you? But I was able to heal myself through this process by changing my mind, using the power of my mind. And so then I just started using this power like a magic wand, literally, because as soon as I got over pain, I realized I have a painkiller addiction. I didn't even know I had it when I was in pain because I was taking the pills for pain. But when the pain stopped, I was still going for the pain pills. And I was like, whoa, it shocked me. I didn't know. And so I said, well, I just won't take them as often. Oh no, this was a serious addiction. Like I would take them every 4 hours, day and night. If I tried to get to 4 hours in 1 minute, I would start to have a panic attack, like freaking out, losing my mind. I reprogrammed my mind for my painkiller addiction, never took another pain pill. I was like, this process is fantastic. So then what did I do? I reprogrammed my marriage. All the pain over 20 years, I reprogrammed it. And it was like a honeymoon again. And I was like, this is the craziest thing. How is this possible? And it's because of the subconscious mind. I was tapping into that mind that I had never dealt with before. All those past traumas and dramas and negative programming, I cleared it all up. And it was like, I felt like a totally new person, like I was reborn, the most amazing thing. And so I'm obsessed with the power of the mind. And I believe that you can tap into that power and transform anything in your life with the power that you have in your subconscious. And it's funny. I mean, I'm a religious girl. I believe in God. And it's so interesting because sometimes people say, well, you're struggling with something because that's something that God gave you to learn and grow from. And maybe that's true. I'm not saying it's not, but I think so many times it's just our own stuff that gets in our way because, oh gosh, I prayed so much to be healed. And I believe I got this process from those prayers, but it was my negative programming that was getting in my way in all areas of my life. And so I love being able to just tap into the mind, just like a computer. You want to reprogram it? You don't like the programming? Change the program. You can do the same thing with yourself. And it's so quick. And I think on this live today, we're going to do some reprogramming. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. Let's change, like right now, today, anything we want, we can change it with the power of the mind. So there you go.
Jenny, I love that. I love it. I love your story. So thank you for sharing too. It's incredible. And you've got this sense and essence of joy that just sparkles inside of you, which draws people to you and your story. And reprogramming our mind is so attractive of an idea now, because I personally was stuck in this space between then and now, struggling. And I've come to terms with some change, some pretty big change in the last few years, but it's taken a lot of grit. So the more I'm working with this beautiful concept of change, the more I'm realizing that all this crap that we tell ourselves up in our mind is bull. It's bull. And so that's what I'm super excited today is to see how you did it and how you can change somebody within minutes.
Absolutely. I can't wait to do that. And I'm excited. I'm going to share with you guys today as well the 3 secrets to creating ultimate success in your life. And that could be financial success. That could be health and wellness. That could be in relationships. That can be in any area of your life. It's the same 3 secrets. So I can't wait to get into that as well.
Right on. And what I did mention up first, for anybody that's on here, please write in the comments there where you're from. And if you've got any questions for Jenny or even for myself, and we can put your questions up there and answer them. That's something I didn't mention up front, because I'm still working on doing this thing. So yeah, tell us what you do, and then do it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So let's jump into the 3 secrets to creating ultimate success. Okay. Here's the first secret. The first secret is you have 2 minds. You have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind. And in the world, there's so much focus on being more mindful, being more focused. And here's the problem with that. It's not how our system is set up to run. Now, if you live at a monastery, maybe it's easy to be focused. But if you're in modern day America with kids and a job and a family and all these responsibilities, it's hard to keep your focus because there's so many things to focus on, right? So I think of it like your eyes blinking. It's a subconscious program. It just happens. You don't think about it, right? But you can mindfully overpower it, right? Like, don't blink. How long can you go? It's hard to talk and it's hard to breathe because you're so focused. Ah, shoot, I blinked, right? That's what happens. So you set a goal like, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to exercise. And then Wednesday you're eating donuts and not going to the gym. And it's like, oh, I'm so frustrated with myself. Well, don't be frustrated with yourself. It's just a program. Once you change that program, it's going to be easy to do what you want because your subconscious mind and your conscious mind will be in alignment. So according to scientists like PhD cellular biologist Bruce Lipton, your subconscious mind is about 95% more powerful than your conscious mind. It processes about 40 million bits of information per second compared to your conscious mind, about 40 bits of information per second. So 1 million times more power in your subconscious mind. And it processes thousands of things at the same time. So consciously, we can only focus on a few things at the same time, right? And then we get like, wait, what am I thinking about right now? But subconsciously, you know, the eyes blink, the heart beats, the lungs breathe, the food digests, the cells replenish, the hair grows, and our subconscious is also in control of how we think, how we feel, how we act, how we react. All of those things are going on at the same time. So the first secret is you've got to know you have two minds, and the mind you should focus the most on is your subconscious mind, because that's your automated mind. So if you wake up happy, that's because you have a happy program for waking up in your subconscious mind. And if you wake up grouchy, that's because you have a grouchy program. And so you can try to overpower it. Yes. You can try to have a better morning routine. Yes. But why not just repattern it so you wake up happy? It's the shortcut. I love shortcuts. So that's your number one. Okay.
That's great. I love that. I just love it because I wake up nowadays. When I go to bed, I used to go to bed stressed when I was working in corporate, and I go to bed. Ugh. Now I go to bed, and the first thing I do when I pull the blankets up is I just put a big fat smile on my face, and just that one action, you know, reprograms how I feel, and it's the best feeling now. Same with getting up. It's you can smile. Anyone can wake up and be happy or sad, right?
I love it. Absolutely. So true. All right. So you ready for secret number 2?
Yes.
Okay. Secret number 2 is you were programmed. All right. So how did you get this programming in your subconscious mind? Well, when you were in utero till about 8 years old, your brain was in a theta state. It's like a hypnotic state. And anything you saw or heard or felt or experienced became your program, whether positive or negative. So here's an example. Whatever language was spoken in your home, that's the language you speak, right? They didn't speak English and you spoke Chinese, right? No, you learned what they taught you. Now, it's not just the language coming out of your mouth, but it's also the money language, right? Is money the root of all evil? Is money a great way to serve people? Does money come easily? Is it, if you get money, is it so hard to get it and then you lose it? I mean, what was the money program, right? What about the relationships in the house? Was everybody kind and loving and sweet and open and curious? Were people yelling and screaming and grouchy and slamming doors and fighting? I mean, what was the relationship program? What about the health and wellness? You know, is there diabetes and cancer and heart disease? Is everybody eating right, exercising? Like, what's going on with the health? That becomes your programming. And so later in life, you don't even realize, you think, oh, I didn't like how that was in my house, I want to change it. But it's your programming. So when you try to change it, you're fighting your programming. And remember, that programming is in your subconscious mind, which is 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind. So why are you always fighting it? Why do you act the way maybe someone who you said, I'll never be like that when I grow up? And then you hear yourself say something, you're like, I'm my mother. Like, what happened? Yeah.
And what's even crazier is when you see your children starting to, this is as an adult child, right? You come and you're aware of what you're doing and what you're saying, and you don't like it, but then your children just show up and they be you or they be your mother, and you're like, oh my God, there's that generational pattern. Yeah. How can I break it? So easy, breaking the cycle. It's so difficult.
Yes. Here it is. I see it right in front of me, right? And the other thing is, we've been taught that our health and wellness has to do with what's in our genes and our heredity. We go to the doctor, they want the family history. But what science has found now with epigenetics starting in the 1990s, it's really that your genes can rewrite themselves. And most often disease is not found in your genes when you are born, maybe 1% of the population. We create disease, we learn disease. That's how we respond and react to the world because it was modeled to us. And so it's fascinating to know that you have cells that can rewrite your genes for the positive or for the negative. And so it's so empowering to know that even though we were programmed, you can be mad at all of them for a little while, maybe a couple more seconds, but I'm about to tell you secret number 3. And secret number 3 is the greatest discovery of the 21st century, which is you can reprogram yourself. So it doesn't matter what you learned. It doesn't matter what you were taught. It doesn't matter what good or bad role modeling you saw. You can choose how you want your life to be, and you can reprogram it. But you have to do it with the subconscious mind if you want it to be easy and automatic. The hard way is the mindful way, the affirmation way. They're just slower because it's dealing with the conscious mind, which doesn't control your programming. So let's jump into a little bit more about the subconscious mind and how to reprogram it. So first, you got to know that the subconscious mind is sensory. That means audio. I can't speak right now. You know what I'm trying to say? Sensory. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Hearing and seeing and smelling and tasting and touching, right? That's the sensory mind. So if you smell something and you're all of a sudden transported back into your grandma's kitchen, that's because of that subconscious mind. Here's the other thing. The subconscious is timeless. So if you were in a car accident 20 years ago and your neck still hurts and the chiropractor already fixed it, why is it still hurting? It's because of that memory. It's live and in living color in your subconscious mind. And you could be subconsciously straining because of the impact, which is causing pain. So it's so fascinating to know. And remember, I'm not a doctor, right? So always go get medical things checked out, even though I say you can transform yourself. You can change things because of that timelessness of the subconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. Just like if you imagine squeezing lemon juice into your mouth, like if you really imagine it, what happens? Like, oh my gosh, chemical reaction in your body, your mouth starts to water, you pucker up, and there's not even a lemon in sight, right? So all of these memories in the subconscious mind can get in the way. They can be like carrying a weight and then another weight and then another weight and then another weight. And then people wonder, like, why am I on antidepressants? Why am I so stressed out? Why do I have all these things going on in my life? Why can't I just be happy? Right? And it's because there's a lot of weight in the subconscious mind from in utero all the way through your life. I love working with kids because they're so easy, right? They don't have all the decades of stuff to get through. It's just like, oh yeah, I just want to feel different about school or my teacher. And okay, I'm better 3 minutes later and I'm on my way. So powerful, right? Okay, so do you want to see how to reprogram the mind?
Absolutely. I love what you've all said, because it touches so close to me and so many people that I know and work with, is because they've got these barriers that they put up themselves, these beliefs that they had, that they've been conditioned to, that they really honestly, including myself, that we really believe is the truth. And it's sort of, it's busting into that, excavating into it, and just finding out, is it true or is it not true? And this is where I'm excited to see what you've got going here. And if anybody, let us know if you've got any questions, throw some comments in.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So here's what we have to do first to change the brain, to change the subconscious belief. We have to open something called the corpus callosum. It's the brain bridge. It separates both hemispheres of the brain. So when you were born, you had about 200 million neural connections, according to scientists, between both hemispheres of the brain. And the older you get, the more the brain becomes separated. And you can even Google, am I right-brained or left-brained, right? Am I more logical? Am I more emotional? You get a personality. You develop habits and patterns and just a way of being. So what we want to do is we want to open that brain bridge so you can be in what we call a whole brain state, where you're using your whole brain. Now, we hear that you can't use your whole brain, that you only use like 10% of your brain. According to science, it's not true. Bruce Lipton has a video. He talks about the reason they say that is because they used to think only the neurons controlled brain function and only 10% of your brain is neurons. But 90% is glial cells. They thought that was like filler material. Turns out it's not filler material. It's working. So if you can get in a whole brain state, they call that a form of super learning, because you're tapping into your entire brain. And you're balanced, you're emotional, you're logical, you're open, you're curious, you're in a whole brain state. So the first step is to open the brain bridge. So we're going to do that, okay? Then the second step is to describe your goal to your subconscious mind. So really first we have to write the goal. So let's back up just for a minute and talk about a goal. A goal in the subconscious mind, it's going to sound like a positive affirmation, but it's not something that you're going to be repeating after we speak today. It's something we're going to program into the subconscious mind. So you'll want to get a piece of paper if you have one handy, or your computer or your phone, or somewhere where you can write something, and ask yourself, what do you want different in your life? What's missing? What do you want to change? How would you rather feel? What would you rather have? Sometimes people, it's easier to say like what I don't want and then flip it to the opposite, right? I know what I don't like and what I don't want. Okay, so what's the opposite of that? What do you want? Now, of course, people a lot of times say more money, right? That's easy. Like if I just had more money, that would solve all my problems. Well, first I can say from having more money, it didn't solve my problems. It's nice though. It gives you a lot of options, right? But maybe your goal is more money, and awesome if it is. So let's say that's your goal. You want to make more money. So your goal statement could sound something like, it's so easy for me to make X number of dollars per month. Just put in whatever your number goal is. Okay. So that would be an example. If you just want to be happy or healthy, it could be something like, I am so incredibly happy and healthy all the time, every day, something to that effect.
Let's think about just the time that we're in right now, and is there a message that we can give for relationships? We see a lot of families staying at home together, so space is running out, and parents might be getting a little, frustrated with the children. Is there a message then in relationships, like I want to be kind to my children, when really they're trying to carry their parent over?
So remember, the statement is like it already exists. So it could be, I love being home with my family all day, every day. It could be like, oh, my family and I have so much fun together. We just think of one fun thing after the next to do. It could be like, it's so peaceful and calm and loving being around my family all the time. So how you want it to be. Yeah, you're going to write it like it already exists. So that's perfect. Thanks for bringing that up. And another thing is, some people are scared right now, right? Turn on the news, it's kind of scary. So it could be a statement like, I'm safe and secure and healthy in the world. That's huge. If you believe that at a subconscious level, the nerves will calm. So that's a big one. Yeah.
I am safe in this world today. Yeah.
I'm safe in this world today. Yeah. Secure, happy, confident, peaceful, balanced, whatever you want to be. Yeah. So you're going to pick one statement. So we're just going to program one at a time. Okay. So the cool thing is, we have like 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. So gosh, that's a lot to reprogram. But here's what happens. These goals, it's like the first domino. You knock over one and it takes down a row. So you don't have to program 50 to 80,000 things. You're able to just work on, what do you want different right now? What do you want different today? And you'll notice a change in that area, and also in some surrounding areas. A lot of times when people work with me, they're like, why am I losing weight? Like, I wasn't trying to necessarily. I mean, I'm not complaining, but we didn't even work on that. And, a lot of times people eat to like feel better, to find pleasure, to satisfy themselves. And if you're already feeling great and satisfied, and you're not going to get the handful of M&Ms, multiple times a day, it's going to change things. So there's lots of side benefits, which I love as well. So make sure you have a goal. That's the first thing. Then we're going to open the brain bridge. Then we're going to describe the goal to the subconscious mind in sensory language. And then we're actually going to do a process of body postures that builds that new neural pathway in the brain. And after we do that, we're going to set an action plan. We're going to put this goal to work. We're going to make it come to pass. It's kind of like if you program yourself to be an Olympic athlete, then you got to practice. You can't sit on the couch, right? So sorry to tell you, you still have to do the work. But the good news is it's now going to be easy to do the work you want to do because your whole system is supporting you. Every cell in your body, you have 50 to 75 trillion cells. If they're all supporting you, it's going to be a whole lot easier. Okay, so we ready? Ready to jump in? Everybody got their goal? You got to have your goal or it doesn't work. You got to know what you want. So you got your goal? Okay, I'm going to look at the chat. Any questions? Okay, everyone has their goal. Remember, it's first person, like I. It's present tense, like it's already happening. It's positive. You're not going to say I don't want or no or not or don't or won't or can't or any of those words. It's all in the positive. And it's short because we're going to be repeating it when we're putting it into the brain. And you want it to be meaningful. Like you don't want a boring statement. Like even I am happy, it's kind of boring. But if you're like, I am so incredibly happy all the time, that's a more fun statement. And the subconscious likes that emotion. Okay, so you ready?
How's this one? I am so excited about being with my family every day.
Perfect. I love it. That's great. Good job.
Yeah, but yeah.
Your family's going to love that. That's great. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to put your arms like this in an X. And you're going to have your arms away from your body because you're going to be looking at the X. You don't want to go cross-eyed. And you're going to keep your head in place, but with your eyeballs, you're going to look at one hand, and then you're going to look down to your elbow of that same arm. Then you're going to look at the opposite hand, and then you're going to look down to your elbow of that same arm. And you're just going to trace that X with your eyeballs back and forth and back and forth. This starts to open that brain bridge. And you're going to do it about 10 times. It's always nice to take slow, deep breaths while you do it. It doesn't have to be exact on the count. Whenever you're done, you're going to bring it to your chest. And you're going to close your eyes, and you're going to take 3 slow breaths. Okay, when you're ready, you're going to cross your ankles one over the other. Now, if your ankles were already crossed when you did that last one, just uncross them this time. And then keep your arms where they're at and take 3 more slow breaths. And then you're going to put your feet flat on the floor, and you're going to uncross your arms and just set your hands in your lap with your palms facing up, however it's comfortable. You're going to close your eyes and take 3 more slow breaths. And now with your eyes closed, you're going to think about your goal. And if you don't remember what it is, take a quick peek at your paper that you wrote it on. And you're going to think about what's visually going to look different in your life when you've accomplished this goal. So just close your eyes and visualize you've already done this goal and what's going to look different in your life. So it could be the smile on your face. It could be the love in your family. You guys are giving each other hugs or high fives or playing games, having fun together. If you're doing something with money, it could be looking at your bank account and like, yes. It could be buying something. It could be helping somebody, serving somebody around the world. It could be your business flourishing, you know, the phone ringing off the hook, the calendar filled. whatever you want. It could be your health and well-being. It could be the doctor saying like, oh my gosh, whatever that issue was, it's like gone. I don't know what happened. It's a miracle. You're so healthy now. Just think of about 3 different things that will visually look different when you've accomplished this goal. And next you want to think about what's someone who knows you and loves you going to say positively to you when you've accomplished this goal. So maybe they call you by name and say like, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. I'm so excited for you. Way to go. Something like that. What do they say to you? Let's think about that. Visualize that conversation. And next, I want you to think about what positive thing are you going to say to yourself when this comes true? Like maybe a few minutes ago, you thought this is an impossible goal. This could never happen. And now you're telling yourself like, oh my gosh, you did it. Nice job. Way to go. Amazing. What are you going to say to yourself? Think about that for a minute. And now think about how you're going to feel. I want you to just pick one word. When you've accomplished this goal, how are you going to feel? Is it happy? Is it healthy? Is it calm? Is it balanced? Is it peaceful? Is it relieved? What is it? And then try to get in the feeling of that word. Think of a time you felt it before and really feel it. Feel it for about 10 seconds. If you see me yawning on the screen, I'm not tired or bored. Just when the energy is shifting in the world, I feel it and it makes me yawn. All right. Now see?
Our suggestion.
All right. Now you're going to open your eyes. So you had the goal, you opened the brain bridge, you described it to the subconscious mind. Now we're going to build that new neural pathway. So you're going to put your arms out in front of you. And you're going to put one hand on top of the other, and you're going to make sure you're touching your pinky finger, and you're going to swipe up your arm to your chest, and then you're going to do the opposite.
And just like ironing it out, right?
Yeah. And now you're going to take a quick peek at your goal that's written down on your piece of paper, so you remember it exactly, and then you're going to close your eyes, and while doing this motion with your eyes closed, you're going to start repeating your goal silently. All right, then you're going to put your right hand over your navel, your belly button, and you're going to swipe straight up to the base of your neck. And then you're going to do your opposite hand. Left hand, swipe up. Right hand, swipe up. Then you're going to close your eyes and you're going to start repeating that goal silently again. When you're ready, you're going to interlace your fingers and your hands like you're saying a prayer, and you're just going to set them down in your lap, and you're going to close your eyes and you're going to repeat that goal about 5 more times. When you feel it's complete, you're going to open your eyes and we're all going to give each other a high five. Nice job. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wrong way.
Yeah, one, two,
okay. Awesome. All right. So you set the goal, you open the brain bridge, you describe the goal to the subconscious, you built the new neural pathway. And now the last step is we're going to write an action plan. You've got to put this into action now. So what can you do to make this goal happen? If it's about the happy family, you know, what can you do to cause more joy in the family? Is it how you respond and react, your tone of voice, what you want to, you know, the time you want to spend, or you're open and curious with the family, flexible? Like, what can you do? If it's about making money, like, do you need to make some phone calls? Do you need to finish a project at work to get seen and promoted? You know, if it's about your health, what are you going to change? What are you going to do? So write down your action plan right now. I'll give you a few seconds. Write your action. And then you got to make sure that you put this in your calendar and you time block it and you make sure it happens. This locks in that new path in the brain. This path in the brain is like when you build a path in the forest. If you never walk it, what happens? It grows over, right? If you walk that path, it becomes strong. And so the more action you take, the quicker you'll notice the change. And most people notice the change in about a day or so. I usually have a call with my clients in about a week, expecting everything to be completely transformed within a week. And a lot of times it is. And if it's not, there's some layer we need to get to, and we work on that and we transform it, and they're off to the races, because the power of your mind is controlling how you feel, think, act, react, your success, your health. It's all an automated program. And if you can get that programming right, it's a good life.
Love it. And I did this with Jenny before. I did this with you, and it works. And just going through it the second time here, what really came up was that we are slowing down. We are paying attention to the now and what we really need. And like you said, not what we don't need, but what we do need. And
Yes.
then sort of reverse engineering it into an action piece. And then you've got the stuff behind, you have the support behind it in your mind and your body.
Yes.
And when you go to do that. So yeah, it's a great process.
It's so powerful, and it's amazing how well it works. I mean, I have follow-up calls with all my clients to see how they're doing. But part of it is just because I love hearing in a week that their problem's gone. Like, how awesome is that? And that's not because I'm great or I'm special or I have some superpower. It's because they change their programming. It's science. If you have a negative programming, you feel negative. And if you have a positive program, you feel positive. It's that simple. So I love that I can help people feel better, because, gosh, it's so much more fun to feel better, right?
Oh, totally.
Absolutely.
So a question that comes to me is now, how can we keep doing this? Is it just something that we have to pay attention to regularly?
Yeah. So here's the awesome part. It's the change you just made is a permanent change. Okay. So you don't have to like redo this. So what you do is you just keep asking yourself, what do I want different now? And you can do this little process that I took you through today. We've got lots of processes. I actually use a process of muscle testing when I work with individuals or groups to see which process they need and what will help them break through. Sometimes there's a root to the problem we need to clear out. And so the best thing to do is start to learn about the power of the mind. The next best thing, or maybe really it's the first best thing to do, is start to catch your thoughts, right? If you're speaking negatively to yourself, or you're thinking a negative thought about someone else or your business or your family, like, don't think that, because your thoughts become your reality. And the more you think that, there's two ways to program the subconscious. One is the way I did it today. Another way is through muscle memory, repetition. So if you're constantly thinking, my family is so annoying, right? And you think that and think that and think that, oh my gosh, it's like when you buy a new car and you see that car everywhere, right? Yeah. You think something over and over, sure enough, it shows up for you.
What you think will become, right?
Yeah, exactly. So don't allow yourself a negative thought. Now, that doesn't mean to like ignore yourself or your emotions, but to deal with it and then think, how would I rather feel and how can I get there? And one of the ways is through the process I showed you today. And so I'm so excited about that because we can change our reality. And for me, I spent so many decades trying consciously to change, and I would just get frustrated. It was hard. It was hard to change that way. And this way was so simple and powerful and effective.
Oh, I love it. And I align with your work so much in terms of the work that I'm doing, that I have done for myself, and that I do work with people as well at. And it is just really paying attention, being ultra curious as to the patterns in your life that you want to break, the cycles that aren't doing you good anymore. You can't affect change if you don't have the awareness. And to get that awareness, you need the curiosity.
Yes.
So that's what this time of our lives right now, when we're being hunkered down in isolation, is the most beautiful time to turn these supposed challenges, the negative challenge, into positive opportunities.
Absolutely.
And it's just looking at your life, at your day. What's going on? What didn't I like? What do I want to change? And then start to do that work and reprogram our thoughts. And with all of this work in the body, that's the brain bridge. That's a very interesting concept to me. What is the brain bridge? Can you?
Yeah. So it literally separates both hemispheres of the brain, the corpus callosum. You can Google it and see what it looks like and check it out. And it's like a brick wall the older we get. And that's why sometimes they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? They're set in their ways. They have their patterns. And so when you open that brain bridge, you can get into that state of super learning. And I love that you can be so open and curious when you're in that state. So if you're ever just frustrated, I mean, go like this, set these arms on your lap, cross your ankles, close your eyes, take some deep breaths. It starts to open that bridge and it can start to change your perception of the situation. Whenever you're saying like you're down on yourself or you're blaming someone else, instead of that, how would I rather have it? Like, I don't need to go there. I don't need to blame myself or someone else. How would I rather have it? And how can I create that? Because when you change yourself, what happens is the other person responds different to you, right? And then it's like the whole thing changes. It's funny. I do so much help with people in marriages. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. All these things, my disclaimer, right? But married couples come to me, but so many times it's just one of them. And they go, well, he doesn't want to come. Not to worry. You can change the whole thing yourself, because when you're different, he cannot help but be different. He will react differently, period. And you can fix your marriage or your relationship yourself. Now, it's awesome to have a couple. I love doing that as well, but it's powerful.
That's great. And that again hits a chord. Every chord with me is, I call it the blame game. And I always ask people, like, just pay attention to when you start to play the blame game, and then turn it into a kindness challenge, because kindness breeds kindness, and kindness can come in so many different forms, right? So just that acknowledgement. I remember driving down myself when I started working on that. I was driving down the road and I noticed something really futile, and then I started to blame someone in my life for something, and I just saw this whole roadmap of doom. And I just called myself out. You're playing the blame game, Janine. No one was in the car, but that's what I do. And then it makes you stop and think, how can you shift that?
Yeah, so, absolutely. I remember reading Byron Katie's book one time before I knew all this stuff. And her first question is like, ask yourself if the story you're telling yourself is even true. And I was like, of course it's true.
It's my story. It's totally
true. It is, And I was like, what is she even talking about?
Yeah.
I was so sold on my own story. I didn't realize I was just narrating it to benefit me in the best way possible, right? It wasn't me, it was him. Yeah.
We are the writer. We are the author. We are the writer. And it's such a beautiful piece to know that you can rewrite your story. You can transform your life story without being sorry. And that's the people pleaser in me speaking up here, because some of us have this people pleasing attitude where we have to really make sure that everyone else is okay and that we put ourselves last. So that's a really big part of the work that I've done myself, is just like this, why, and ask yourself and be there and see if you want to shift. And you don't have to please everybody, you know, you don't. And so pleasing ourselves, and this is a perfect example of self-care, is just like shifting your own thoughts and not depending on other people's approval for you to do stuff.
Absolutely. I've worked with so many mothers with that. And I'm like, okay, let's write this goal. Like, I always take care of myself first. And they're like, I can't do that. And I'm like, why not? Why? Whose rule is that? Why can't you? Right? You put on your own oxygen mask first, and then you can help everybody else. Like, if mom's not performing well, everybody knows it and doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So take good care of yourself.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. There's so many things that we have in our head, beliefs that we have, ways we think things are, and it's just a story, and we can change the story if we want to. So
transform our story without being sorry.
Yeah, great.
I love it. So This is great, and I know we're coming to the top of the hour. If you have a little nugget that you want to share, to the relatively quiet audience out there, there's quite a few people watching, and if there's any questions, now is the time. But what's your nugget to share?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? The thing that I love to share with people is, like, you're not a victim. You are so incredibly powerful. And somebody asked me one time, like, what's your relationship with your power? And I was like, that's an interesting question. That was before I knew all this stuff. And they said something to me like, you have so much power. And if you could tap into that, oh my gosh. And I started thinking about it like, I do. You know, this is before I knew anything about the subconscious mind and all this. But now I love to pass on that message that you have the power to transform your life. There's nothing going on in your life that you can't start to change today and could maybe be gone tomorrow. I mean, you have that much power. So if you're ready to get rid of the stories and the dis-ease and discomfort and frustration and fear, you can get rid of it. You can change yourself at a cellular level. You know, I love the science of this. We used to think we functioned like from the inside out. And what they're finding with epigenetics is if you take a cell and it's in a petri dish, the health of the cell depends on the surroundings of the cell. They can change what the cell turns into based on what's in that petri dish with it. The temperature, it can be healthy or it can die. It all depends on that environment. So you're creating this environment of your cells. So is it positive in there? Are your cells in growth or are they in protection? You're controlling that and you don't even realize it. And so knowing you have that power to create your ultimate success and health and happiness, you have that power, tap into it and live your best life, live your purpose, live your divinity, be what you were meant to be. There's a reason you're here. Figure it out and live it. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. What a beautiful gem. And I think I'm right on you with that gem, is just tap into your curiosity. I think is my main message, is just like be curious about what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're doing, the people around you, how you're reacting to them, or if you're not, how you're responding, and how much time you take, what goes on in here. Open up curiosity and let her all the way in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Amen.
So how can people find you?
Yeah, so you go to balancedyou.org is my main website. You can Google Balanced You. I'm all over the place. So if you go to balancedyou.org, you'll get a pop-up with a PDF download of my #1 best-selling book, Breaking to Be Me. You can hear the whole story of how it all happened in more detail than we got to today. You can schedule a free 30-minute consult with myself or my team right there, so we can talk about what's working for you and what's not, what you want to be working, and how you can put the power of your mind to work for you. You can also check out our Transformation Factor program, which is a group program that we have. We meet twice a month online over Zoom, and I help people reprogram their mind twice a month. So it's like twice a month, you can clear all your blocks. And then next month, what new blocks have you found? Let's clear all those out. You can check that out. There's so many things you can learn about the power of the mind. So just visit me at balancedyou.org.
Love it. Oh my gosh, you're just a wealth of resource and positive energy. It just oozes out of you.
Thanks.
And for anyone who wants to contact me, this is where I am, Janine McJannet, on Facebook right now primarily, and I've got my website, janinemcjannet.com. And I do have a freebie that I think you do too, where I've made a little training video. It's my first one, and it talks about relationships, and it talks about people pleasing and setting boundaries. So if you're interested in that, just shoot me a message, and we can connect that way. Because I think all the work that me, and so many other people are doing today in this world is about becoming the better version of ourselves. But we need that support, we need that community, and we need that connection. So I've got the Unapologetic Adult Child, which is a Facebook group that's growing with women from all over the world now, and that connection is important because that's where we can trust. We can trust our sisters, we can trust the people to share the stories so that we can transform the stories about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. I love the relationships and setting boundaries. I mean, we need that, not just in our family, but in the entire world. We need to set boundaries. And so that is super powerful. I love that. And all the women working together to change the world, because we know a rising tide raises all ships. And so just make sure yours is on the water.
Yeah. And keep paddling. Thank you so much. And I will put the links to find Jenny and myself along with the replay, which will be available on both Jenny and my timelines. And yes, so thank you for coming in again. Enjoy your sunny weather. It's much snowy out here, and I'm going to go for a little walk with the dog now and just listen and just sort of set that action plan in that I talked about and love it. I'm just going to love
Perfect.
it. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And see you later, guys. Until next time, keep soulful.